that I could stay. Wish for this moment to never go away. But it's all in my mind. And though I know that there is nothing.
Woo! It's a little bit colder right now, but I guess it will be okay. I mean, it's already after sunrise, it's getting warmer. It's gonna be okay. It's cold up there, so I came down to a lower elevation place, and it's less windy, it's warmer, it's pretty nice. Today in this video, I'm going to talk about focus bracketing because I just used the focus bracketing this morning to capture a panorama of mountains during the sunrise. I think it's pretty interesting. Focus bracketing is a new feature coming to Fuji X-T2 via a firmware update. So if you don't see the feature, please check your firmware. Make sure your Fuji X-T2 has the latest firmware. Now, before we get into that, for those of you who are interested in Capture One, now you can save 10% by using coupon code AMBCAI. Check out more information and tutorials in the description below. What is focus bracketing? Similar to the idea of exposure bracketing, focus bracketing is a feature that allows you to tell your camera to make multiple photos, and in each photo, your camera will shift focus a little bit. Why do you want to do that? For shooting landscape photography, we oftentimes use a small aperture to get a large depth of field, so we can have the foreground and the background both in focus. But sometimes if the foreground is very, very close to you or the background is very far away from the foreground, you might not be able to get the entire depth of field in one shot. And the solution to that is you can make multiple photos and you focus on different parts in each photo. And in post-processing, you can combine all those photos together to create a photo that has both foreground and a background in focus. Also, sometimes when you are shooting with a long focal length, you might want to use focus bracketing as well. For example, this morning, I was shooting with Fuji 55 to 200mm lens, and I was shooting at 55 focal length. And 55mm on a crop sensor like Fuji X-T2 is probably equivalent to maybe around 80-85mm on a full frame sensor, so it's a relatively long focal length. When you are shooting a longer focal length, you are getting a shallower depth of field, and I want to have the mountains, all the mountains to be in focus, to be sharp. That's why I used focus bracketing. Now let me show you how I used the focus bracketing on my Fuji X-T2. Alright, now I'm back home and let me show you the settings on Fuji X-T2. First, you need to use this drive mode dial underneath the ISO dial and then change that to bracketing mode. And then go into menu and then go to shooting setting and then go to drive setting. Also, I have customized this AEL button to be drive setting. You can press and hold display button. That goes into button customization page, and you can customize any button to be drive setting. I use this AEL button, so I select AEL and then I select drive setting. So now whenever my Fuji X-T2 is in the bracketing mode, I can just press this AEL button and then go into drive setting menu. Now once you are in drive setting menu, select bracketing setting and then select bracket select and then choose focus bracket. And then go to focus bracketing setting, and there are 3 columns, and I think they are pretty straightforward. The first column is frames, and that means the number of frames that you want to take. And the second column is step. It's from 1 to 10. It doesn't mean 1 meter, 2 meter, or 1 feet, 2 feet. I think it's a relative value on a scale from 1 to 10. And I have used this focus bracketing feature a couple of times, and I think for me, for shooting landscape photography, I found steps set to 3 or 4 work best for me when shooting landscape photography. And the third column is interval. You can specify the number of seconds that you want to wait between photos. For interval, I mostly just set to 0 because I don't want to wait before taking the next photo. Now that's the setting. You are ready to go, and you just need to press the shutter button, and then your camera will capture multiple photos with different focus. After focus bracketing, now you have a couple of photos with different focus. The next thing we are going to do is to stack those photos together to create a single photo in post-processing. I'm going to show you how to do that. Now I am inside Capture One, and these 7 photos are the photos I took using focus bracketing feature on Fuji X-T2. Now let's take a look. The first photo, I focused on this rock in the foreground, and this rock and the grass are in focus and sharp. Now we move to the background and the mountain. You can see the mountain is slightly out of focus, but the camera automatically shifts the focus towards the background. So if we go through these files, you can see the background, the mountains, becomes sharp, becomes in focus. Now what we need to do is bring these photos into Photoshop to merge into a single photo. I'm not going to bring all these 7 photos into Photoshop. I'm gonna just do the first one, the middle one, and the last one, because I want to get the foreground from the first photo, I want to get the middle ground from the middle photo, and I want to get the background from the very last photo. So just select 3 photos and then right click and then select Edit With. And select the TIFF 16-bit uncompressed, and then adjustments, make sure you select no output sharpening instead of disable all. So just select no output sharpening and then go to Photoshop. Click on Edit. The first thing we want to do is bring all the photos into one file. So go to the second file and then click on this lock button to unlock this layer. And then press Ctrl 8 to select everything, Ctrl C to copy, and then go to the first file, Ctrl V to paste. So as you can see here, now we have 2 layers in the first file. Do the same thing for the third file, unlock the layer, Ctrl 8 to select everything, Ctrl C to copy, and then go to the first file to use Ctrl V to paste. Now we have 3 layers in the first file. What we need to do is select all these 3 layers and then go to Edit, go to Auto Blend Layers, and then make sure you have Stack Images selected. And I also recommend to select Seamless Tones and the Colors and click on OK. And Photoshop will calculate which part of the photo, which part of the layer is in focus, and then use that part from that layer. Alright, the Photoshop just finished, and let's take a look. As you can see, the foreground is from the first photo, and the middle ground is from the second photo, and the mountains, the background, is from the third photo. Now, we want to merge all these 3 layers into a single layer. We can do that by press Ctrl-Alt-Shift+E. That will merge all visible layers into a single layer, and I don't need all the other layers. I just want to save this single layer as a TIFF file. So now go to File, Save As, and I'm gonna call this Rocky Mountain National Park Focus Stacking. And I don't want layers, I just want a single layer. Now click on Save, and then click on OK. And now we can go back to Capture One. Now we are back to Capture One, and I just imported the final TIFF file into the catalog, and we can do a comparison. I'm going to select the first raw file and then compare to our final merged image. So as we can see, if we zoom into the foreground, so the foreground is equally sharp because the final image gets the foreground from this raw file. But if we move to the background, we can see the final image on the right hand side is much sharper than the first photo. Alright guys, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please hit the thumbs up button below, and if you are not subscribed already, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for more photography tips and tutorials. And also, if you are interested in trying out Capture One, now you can save 10% by using coupon code AMBCAI. Check out more information and tutorials in the description below. Alright guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Wish that I could stay. Wish for this moment to never go away.